Welcome to the Nocturne Gallery. Today we'll talk about cultural heritage, Nike of Samothrace.
The winged victory, an absolute icon.
Truly. She's one of the greatest surviving sculptures from the Hellenistic period, isn't she?
Yeah.
Still inspires this incredible awe, even though she's famously incomplete.
Right. Headless, armless, but somehow that almost adds to her power. Our mission today really is to unpack her whole story, from her start as this sacred offering on a pretty remote Greek island.
Samothrace, yeah.
Through the dramatic discovery of finding all those fragments.
A real puzzle.
Totally. And then the painstaking reconstruction and how she became this commanding figure at the Louvre in Paris. We'll trace the history, the artistry, and, why she still resonates.
And speaking of the Louvre, there's a great hook fact right there. When she was first properly unveiled on the Daru Staircase back in the early 1880s, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing, reception-wise.
Oh yeah, that's fascinating. The setting itself became part of the story. The staircase, designed by Hector Lafeuille, was grand, sure, but the decoration around and above her, incredibly ornate.
Super ornate. We're talking gilded mosaics, really heavy, sort of opulent 19th century decor.
Exactly. So critics looked at this powerful goddess, this ancient Greek masterpiece,
Right.
and saw her against all this, flashiness, and some actually compared her to a musical star.
A musical star in this over-the-top setting. It's hard to imagine now.
It really is. It just shows how much the context, the display, can shape how people see even timeless art. I mean, thankfully, they covered up most of that intense gilding later, around 1934, gave her a more sober backdrop.
A bit more classical austerity.
Precisely. But that initial reaction, it tells you something about how art and its presentation interact. Even the Nike had to kind of fight for her stage presence initially.
That controversy is actually a perfect lead-in to talking about the statue itself, because drama seems built into her DNA. She's firmly in that Hellenistic Baroque style, right? Dated around, 220 to 190 B.C.E.?
That's the general consensus, yeah. And the sculptor achieved this incredible sense of unstoppable movement. It's not just suggesting motion. It feels like she's captured mid-stride that exact instant she lands on the ship's prow.
You can almost feel the momentum.
Absolutely. The way the right leg plants, the left trails back. It's pure Hellenistic theater captured in stone.
And you can't talk about her without mentioning the drapery, that famous wet drapery look.
Oh, definitely. The cloak, or himation, seems to billow back in this imaginary wind, clinging to her body in places. It makes this incredibly heavy Pararian marble look almost weightless, like fine silk.
It's like you can see the wind itself.
Well, that's the genius of it. Art historians call it the invisible complement. The sculptor doesn't carve the wind, but they make you feel it, see its effects. It's a way of bringing an unseen element into the work, amplifying the drama.
And the sheer scale contributes too. The statue alone is, 2.75 meters?
Barely 9 feet, yeah. But the whole monument with the base is 5.57 meters. That's over 18 feet high.
Wow. It's designed to make you feel small in the face of victory.
Completely. And creating that scale, that dynamic pose, required some serious engineering. She wasn't carved from a single block. No, she was assembled from 6 main blocks of Paparian marble. They were likely held together by internal metal braces. It's partly how the sculptor could achieve those amazing jutting wings without the whole thing just collapsing.
That makes sense.
Oh.
And there's that practical detail about how she was meant to be seen, too.
Right, the viewing angle. Ancient sculptors were often very practical. The evidence suggests she was primarily designed to be viewed from her front left side.
So the right side.
It's noticeably less detailed if you look closely. Why waste effort carving intricate details where they wouldn't be properly seen from the intended viewpoint?
Smart. And that base she lands on, the ship's prow, that's crucial too, isn't it?
Absolutely critical. It's carved from a different marble, a gray Lardos marble from Rhodes, and it clearly depicts the prow of a warship. You can even make out hints of oars and a ram.
So it locks in the theme. It's the naval victory.
Exactly. It grounds the whole monument in the specific context of maritime triumph.
Which brings us to how this incredible thing was even found. Her journey from fragments on a Greek island to the Louvre. It's like an archaeological detective story.
It really is, and it unfolded over a long time. It starts in 1863 with Charles Champoiseau,
A French diplomat and amateur archaeologist.
Right. He found the first major pieces on Samothrace, the torso, the feet, about 110 fragments in total. A huge discovery, but crucially, no head, no arms.
So he had this massive, beautiful puzzle, but the key pieces were missing.
Precisely. But he didn't give up. 16 years later, in 1879, he went back for a second dig.
And found.
The base. The huge gray marble blocks forming the ship's prow, that was the game changer. It transformed the fragments from just pieces of a statue into a coherent concept, a monumental victory figure on a ship.
And this is where others get involved too, right? The Austrians?
Yes, Austrian archaeologists had been working on Samothrace since the 1870s, and their work was vital. They helped connect those gray marble blocks, which had sort of been left aside initially, to the structure of a warship's bow.
How did they figure that out?
Partly guided by depictions of similar victory figures on ships found on ancient coins, like tetradrachms. It was a collaborative effort putting the clues together.
So you have French discoveries, Austrian insights, all leading to that first reconstruction attempt at the Louvre in the 1880s, using plaster for some missing bits, like the left wing.
Right. But the story wasn't over? Fast forward quite a bit, all the way to 1950.
What happened?
American excavators, Carl Lehman and Jean Charmeneau, made another incredible find. Underneath a large stone, they found the palm of her right hand.
No way. After all that time.
Yep. And here's the really cool part. 2 fingers that the Austrians had actually found way back in 1875 and which have been kept in Vienna ever since.
Oh.
They were finally reunited with the palm discovered in 1950. It's amazing. That hand, small as it is usually displayed separately near the main statue now. A real symbol of how long these archaeological puzzles can take to solve.
That's incredible. Pieces finding their way back together across decades and countries. And even more recently, technology revealed new secrets. The 2013-2014 restoration.
Absolutely. They used modern techniques, UV light, X-rays, that sort of thing, and they found something that really challenges our typical image of ancient Greek statues as pure white marble.
What was it?
Faint, but definite traces of blue paint on her wings and on her mantle.
Wow. So she was originally painted, at least partially.
It seems likely, yeah. It reminds us that our view of classical antiquity is often, well, bleached by time.
And they restored something else too, didn't they? A tiny feather.
Yes, a really small but significant detail. The Alula feather on her left wing. It's that little cluster of feathers near the wing's thumb joint. They restored it and set it in a slightly flared position. And that specific placement strongly suggests the exact moment of landing, the feathers adjusting as she touches down.
Such tiny details, but they add so much to the sense of movement and realism.
Exactly. It shows just how deeply the original sculptor thought about capturing that specific instant in time.
So we talked about her controversial debut in Paris. Let's contrast that with her original setting. Where did she stand in ancient Samothrace?
A very different world. She was a votive monument, an offering to the gods, placed within the sanctuary of the great gods.
This was a major religious site, right? For a mystery cult.
A very important one, yeah. Centered on deities called the Kaberi, who were believed to offer protection, especially to sailors and initiates. So the statue was likely a thank offering, probably for a significant naval victory.
And the display itself was theatrical.
Oh, absolutely. Hellenistic style loved drama. She wasn't just placed on a pedestal. She was likely set high up, maybe on a terrace overlooking the sanctuary's theater, and crucially within some kind of basin or fountain structure.
A fountain.
Yeah, possibly a 2-level one. The ship prow would sit in an upper basin, with water perhaps flowing down into a lower basin. Some think the lower basin might have even had large stones scattered in it to mimic a rocky shoreline.
So imagine seeing her high up, water splashing around the base, maybe reflecting light.
Exactly. Water, stone, the natural setting, maybe even mist. It would have been an incredibly dramatic, almost cinematic reveal. Pure Hellenistic showmanship.
But the big question remains, which naval victory was she celebrating? There's still debate about that, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the enduring mysteries. Early theories connected her to a victory by Demetrius Poliorkes way back in 306 B.C.E. And actually, the local museum on Samothrace still leans towards that version.
But that's not the main theory now.
The leading theory today, based largely on the style, the dating around 190 B.C.E., and especially that Rhodian marble used for the base.
It's ship prow, right?
Right. That strongly suggests a connection to Rhodes. So the thinking is she likely commemorates a Rhodian naval victory over Antiochus III of Syria, perhaps at the Battle of Side or Myonessus around that time.
And the sculptor, also possibly Rhodian.
That's debated too, but one name often mentioned is Pythokritos of Lindos, a Rhodian sculptor. There's a fragmentary inscription mentioning Rhodios and some stylistic similarities to reliefs from Rhodes, but it's not definitive.
It's interesting, though, the mix of materials, the statue itself, Pterian marble, the base Rhodian marble?
Yeah, it suggests they were likely crafted in different workshops, perhaps one on Paros for the figure and one on Rhodes for the base, and then assembled on Samothrace, a collaborative effort across the Aegean.
Which circles back to what's not there. The missing head and arms. That still captures the imagination, doesn't it?
Massively. You read accounts and it's clear it haunts people, archaeologists, collectors, art lovers, the thought that the head might still be buried somewhere on Samothrace.
Or worse.
Or worse, unearthed illicitly and hidden away in some private collection. It's a tantalizing, frustrating mystery.
But as you said earlier, maybe her incompleteness is part of her power now. It forces us, the viewers, to engage, to imagine the whole.
I think so. You almost complete her in your mind's eye, imagining the expression, perhaps the laurel wreath she might have held. And that power, that resonance, has translated incredibly well into modern culture.
Oh, hugely. I mean, the most obvious one is the Nike company logo, right?
Yeah.
Inspired directly by her form and her name, the goddess of victory.
Absolutely, but it goes way beyond sportswear. The Spirit of Ecstasy mascot on Rolls-Royce cars, directly inspired by the Nike.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the original FIFA World Cup trophy, the Jules Rimet trophy, designed by Abel Lafleur, also based on her winged form.
Wow. She really is a symbol of triumph.
Even the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright was apparently a big admirer. He placed copies of her on the roofs of some of his buildings. She just pops up everywhere, associated with success, speed, aspiration.
Given that global iconic status, we should also briefly touch on the political dimension mentioned in the sources.
Right. It's important context. The Greek government officially views the winged victory, like many artifacts displayed outside Greece, as having been illegally removed, plundered, is the term often used.
Similar to the ongoing debate about the Parthenon marbles, the Elgin marbles.
Exactly. They seek her repatriation, her return to Greece. It's a complex issue of ownership, history, and national heritage that remains part of her story today. We're just reporting the existence of that debate here.
So quite a journey we've traced. From those ancient mystery cult rituals and that spectacular fountain setting on Samothrace.
Through Champoseau finding fragments, the decades of piecing her together, the tiny hand being found.
Right up to her commanding the staircase at the Louvre and becoming this global symbol.
She's really a monument to endurance, isn't she? Survived millennia, lost crucial parts of herself, yet she still stands as this incredibly potent symbol of victory.
Which leads us to a final thought, maybe something for you, our listeners, to mull over. We live in this age of, constant information, sometimes feeling fragmented ourselves, maybe overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
So what can we learn about victory today from an icon of triumph that is literally fragmented? Since the Nike still inspires such awe despite her incompleteness, maybe real victory isn't always about achieving some kind of perfect whole state.
Maybe it's more about that endurance, about adaptation, about still managing to inspire even when parts are missing, even when we feel broken or unfinished.
Perhaps. Something for you to think about.